Welcome back to this tutorial. So I'm going to fill in the first one or the first two, and then you can be able to do the rest. Yeah. Now this is a knowledge. When you talk about knowledge, you have said that this is basically just to test you if you have the necessary information about a certain area or a certain item for evaluation. Now, for example, in this particular case, they are saying that the mentee demonstrate knowledge of communication needs of clients and colleagues. Yeah. Now, in your area, you ask yourself, in the area where you are, is this particular item relevant or this particular item applicable or not? Is this particular area that talks about the communication needs of clients and colleagues, is it applicable or not? Once you say that it is not applicable, you are supposed to indicate here with NA. NA basically means not applicable. But if in case it is applicable, you just leave it blank. You are permitted to leave it blank. Or you can write there applicable. There's no problem. You can just indicate there applicable. Yeah. But in case you leave it blank, then we'll know that actually this particular part is applicable. Now, once you have said maybe, for example, it is applicable, you come to this particular part. You assess yourself. Are you having the knowledge of communication needs for clients and colleagues? The communication needs of the clients and colleagues. So if you say, for example, met, meaning that you have successfully identified the needs, the communication needs in your organization. So you just indicate the met and then you write there 27/08/2024. Okay, so that's how you're supposed to code in this case. If you realize that you have the necessary knowledge of identifying the communication needs of clients and colleagues. But in case you realize that you don't have the knowledge in that particular area, you are supposed to indicate NI. NI basically means that you don't have the necessary or sufficient knowledge in that particular scope. Yeah. So after doing that, you just move to the next part. Now, in the mentor section, in the mentor review record section, here you are supposed to indicate, the mentor is supposed to indicate, not you, not the trainee, or not the mentee, the mentor now. He has observed the way you have been able to identify the communication needs of clients and colleagues at the workplace. If he's satisfied, he's supposed to indicate here met. He's supposed to indicate here met. Yeah. And then also indicate the date. Yeah, like that. But if in case also the mentor has got some kind of issues with that particular item for evaluation, and maybe he or she has assessed that you don't have the necessary knowledge or skills, then is required of him or her to indicate NI. NI basically means that need improvement. Yeah. Now, in this particular case, now that we have coded that here need improvement and here also he has said need improvement, then there is need for us to have an action plan. Okay. So in case here is met and here is met, you have said here met and then here said met, so there is no action plan. There is no action plan because that particular item of evaluation has been met, so there is no action plan. So you are allowed to leave this particular place blank if you realize that you have met here and then met here. But in case you have need improvement here and also need improvement somewhere here, then you need to have an action plan. Now, in this particular case, what is the action plan that you're supposed to do so that you can be able to improve on that knowledge? Okay, so you can even start maybe say that you can involve yourself by reading, or you reading or researching. You can do the research, online research on. You can do online research on the communication communication needs at workplace. Okay, so in this particular communication needs, it's supposed to be communication needs at workplace. So the moment you indicate that, that is the action plan that you have in order for you to acquire that knowledge. Online research on the communication needs at the workplace. Yeah. Now the next thing that you need to do is to provide evidence. Now this evidence part, you're supposed to provide evidence if in case you realize that you have been able to be competent in this particular area or met. Yeah. But now, for example, you have not been able to gain that particular skill yet. Yeah. So I think you cannot be able to indicate here as evidence. You cannot be able to have an evidence of an item of evaluation that you need to improve. You can only provide the evidence if in case you have been able to meet that particular item of evaluation. That's why in this particular case you are supposed to code appropriately and then say to us, what evidence do you have in that particular item of evaluation? Now that you have said that that particular item is met, so tell us, give us the evidence that this particular item is met, and therefore this is the evidence that I have in this particular scope. Then you can be able to continue like that, filling that particular part. Maybe the second one you are comfortable with it, you indicate here with met here, and then you just continue. You leave the action plan. The action plan, if you realize that you have got met here, leave the action plan alone, and then give us the evidence that you have the necessary knowledge in that particular item, like that. Now you go down there up to the skills area. Now the skills area basically is going to test on how to demonstrate. Yeah. So the mentee identifies and meets the specific communication needs of clients. Okay. So in this particular case, now you are doing it. You are not explaining anymore. In this case, now you are doing it hands-on. Show us how to identify the needs, or identify and meet specific communication needs of the client. What do the clients in your company or in your organization need? So show us. So those needs, show us those needs. So here there is a need, there is a gap in this particular case, and this is how I have identified this gap. So we have got a problem in this particular space. The communication between these clients is having a problem. The colleagues at our workplace are not communicating effectively. So how did you manage to come up with that particular conclusion? So you need to have got as a way. You need to show us the way you have been able to come up with that conclusion. And therefore, if you know that you have done that, it is going to be indicated here, met, and then give us the date when that event took place. Now after that, you also indicate there met if the mentee is the mentor is also convinced. You can be able to write there met. But if in case is not convinced, you write there NI. NI basically means need improvement, and therefore now you'll be able to guide you on how you can be able now to be able to do what, to be competent in that particular skill. Okay. Now, is it possible for the student to assess himself or herself to be competent in a certain item, but at the same time the mentor is saying that needs improvement? It is possible. So in this particular case, who is an expert? The expert in this case is the mentor. So the mentor has the knowledge and the skills and the expertise in that particular space, and you as the mentee, you don't have the necessary, you have maybe insufficient knowledge or skills in that particular area, and therefore there is need for you can just say that yes, I know what is required of me, but in real sense maybe you don't know. So it is possible to have a mentoring tool that is coded in this manner, of which it is very much correct. Yeah. Now when you realize that here we have got an action plan, now the mentor can be able to tell you how you can be able to increase in terms of that, or how can you be able to improve in that particular area. Maybe you can tell you that practice engaging with colleagues at workplace to identify communication needs. Okay, to identify communication needs. So I write like that, and then this is the action maybe the mentor has told me to do. He has said that go and practice engaging with the colleagues at workplace to identify the communication needs. So you have been tasked, or you have been given the action plan, what you need to do so that you can improve in that item of communication, or that item of evaluation. And therefore he has told you, can you go and engage with the other colleagues at workplace so that you identify some of the communication needs that they do have, or some of the communication gaps that are there. So you cannot just be maybe focusing on clients alone. There is also need for you to focus on the colleagues also. So that is something that can really help you in that particular scope. Now, after you have done that, and then you have successfully completed whatever action plan that you have been told to do, then you have been tested, okay, so you can be able to point out exactly the evidence that you have in that particular scope. Yeah. So this, when you go down there, we have got the skills that is required in that particular unit of competence. You go down, you go down, you go down. So there are many areas that you need to cover under communication skills. Then we have the attitude part. So the attitude basically talks about the worker behavior. So how does the worker behaves at workplace? So you are supposed to indicate by using the attitude section. Okay, so some things like attentive. Is this particular mentee, the mentee is attentive? Is he or she attentive? Yeah. So if you know that you are attentive, you can be able to code it met. I'm attentive. Okay. Then you can also say that, are you respectful? The mentee is respectful. Yes. Are you respectful? So you code it right correctly. Are you considerate? Are you time conscious? Are you approachable? All these are the work behaviors that you need to have. Okay, are you a problem solver? Then you're supposed to code it correctly in that particular scope. Yeah. Now, something that you need to know that is very important for you to understand, that when you do have a need to improve, it doesn't mean that you cannot be able to be competent in a certain item of evaluation. It is possible for you you can be able to have some needs to improve in certain area, but it doesn't mean that you can never improve in that particular area, or that is the end for you. It just means that you need more time in that particular area so that you can be able to boost your knowledge of your skill, so that you can be able to be effective in that particular part. Now, after you have been able to code that particular part effectively, the next thing that you need to do is just to note. There is a point to note here that to be declared competent, the mentee must get 22 out of 43, which is 50% items of evaluation correct. And there is something that is very important here. They are saying that the item 13, 14, 15, 22, 23, and 25 should be correct. So in case these items, despite the fact that you have gotten 22 out of 43, yeah, of which that is about 50, but these particular items are not correct, then it means that you are not competent. Because these are what we call the core items of evaluation. If you fail these core items of evaluation, it means that you cannot be declared competent. Now let's go, for example, in number 13. So when you go to number 13 in our list here is this particular item: identify and meet specific, identifies and meets specific communication needs of clients and colleagues. So if you realize that that student has got a problem that is not met, is not correct, he has not been able to meet here, and also he has not been able to meet here, this particular part is very important in this course, and therefore it is not possible for you to declare that particular person competent. So he needs to continue trying, he needs to continue working, until he becomes competent in that particular area. Go to line 14. Line 14 says that uses different approaches to meet communication needs of clients and colleagues. So is the mentee competent in this particular area? Do you have met here? And also, do you have the met in this particular case? And then the dates are there. When did he meet the competence? Yeah. So if you realize that at the end of the day, this particular part is not matching, you don't have met here and you don't have met here, that particular person has a problem. You cannot declare that particular person competent, because those are what you call the core areas of competence in that particular unit. Yeah. So this is just to say that you need to know that every time you want to declare somebody competent in a certain unit, you need to make sure that you adhere to the core items of evaluation. So you go to sometimes to the industry, you realize that those core items of competence are not, they have not been able to be captured correctly, or maybe they need improvement, and then you're just saying somebody has indicated that this person is competent in this particular area, of which that is not correct. So this makes sure that every time you look down here to note which are some of the areas that I need to adhere to so much. Apart from scoring 22 out of 43 correct, I also need to adhere to these items of competence in this particular core unit. Now we go down there, we have the summary of the total period of mentoring. So which departments? So how many departments did you apply that particular unit of competence? So if you went to, for example, you went to ICT department, so how many days did you spend there? Maybe you spent 14 days. You went also to another department, maybe you went to liaison office. Okay, in that department, how many days did you spend? Maybe 6 days. You go down there again to the next department, finance. How many days did they spend there? Maybe 5 days. So you list the departments where you practice, or where you applied your that unit of competence, and the number of days that was supposed that you spent in that particular area. Now the mentor is supposed to give us a summary report. A summary report basically tells us all this information that is required in this particular appendix 2, and then also indicate with the signature and the stamp for that organization. Now this is very important. So this is an area that every assessor that comes to the industry looks at. Now the mentee was found to be competent or not yet competent. If not yet competent, please specify in the remark column which areas the mentor needs to improve on. So you cannot just say that not competent, not yet competent, and then you look at the remark section is blank. This implies that there is some kind of coding that is wrong. So some kind of coding is not right. So you need to make sure that you correct on it. Okay. So in case he is not yet competent, indicate that this particular student or this particular mentee needs to improve on this area. So you need to indicate in that particular space on the areas that you need to improve, especially if you realize that this particular person is not competent in these items that have been listed here. Okay. So if he's not correct in that particular scope, kindly mention those spaces or those areas in this particular space. Now this same is applied to all the units, whether it is core units, whether it is common units, whether it is basic units. It has got the same format. Going down, you can see the same format is applied throughout this particular mentoring tool. So that is how you can be able to fill a mentoring tool. Kindly, if you have any question, post on the comment section so that you can be able to I can be able to see or maybe respond to it. Okay, so that you can be able to know exactly how you can be able to fill this mentoring tool correctly. Bye for now. You can also be able to support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel, and also turn the notification button on, so that in case I have another issue that I need to address in this particular space, I'll be able to create a video and you'll be notified. Thank you so much, and bye for now.